Welcome back as ever. I'm joined now by the debonair James Creedon. How are you,
That's
sir?
right. Well, I'm not wearing a skirt like Alain Juppé. No, not that he is, actually. That's really...
The joke is la jupe is French for skirt. Jupe looks a bit like la jupe.
Yeah, that was...
That was a bit laboured, James.
Sorry, it was. Stretched, not related to the news.
Okay, let's talk about this. Alain Juppé very much in the news, of course.
Yeah.
He could possibly be the Harry Lime of the UMP, the third man.
Yes, that's it. And a lot of speculation today. Just to show you, first of all, the front page of Le Monde. War has broken out at the UMP party. Now, that is...
That's my copy. You've stolen it.
That's François Fillon. Okay, you can have it back now.
Thank
there you
you.
go.
Thank you.
I'll steal someone else's. Now, let's take a look on the computer. Alain Juppé is the man who has come to the rescue. He is the former foreign minister, one of the founders of the UMP party, which was founded about 10 years ago. He was the guy who was supposed to be the guy to take over from Jacques Chirac. Anyway, he had troubles.
He was, of course, Sarkozy's foreign minister as well, wasn't he?
That's it.
At one point.
Now, he told the two guys, I'll get a photo of them, François Fillon and Jean-François Copé, who were battling it out for the head of the main party of opposition, that's Sarkozy's party. He said, look, you have until 8 p.m. this evening, and here's a headline showing it, until 20h this evening to accept my offer of mediation, because they're basically two camps tearing each other apart right now. It's really vicious. Or, if you don't accept that offer, you can just manage. And basically, a lot of people are saying he is the only hope for the party right now to save the UMP party. So there you go. That's the mediation that is being hoped for, and that will take about 2 weeks because there's that, voting.
It's really ironic because I recall that
it
in the run-up to the presidential election, which of course François Hollande won at the expense of Nicolas Sarkozy, the UMP were mocking the socialists all the time because of their infighting. This seems to be a French opposition problem. They all go at each other's throats the minute they're out of power.
That's it. And indeed, accusations of voting fraud in the UMP party, both Copé and Fillon accusing the other of voting fraud. The same thing happened in the socialists 4 years ago. The risk is really a total lack of credibility in the political parties that sort of are the main political parties in the country. It's very serious, in fact.
It looks like they couldn't run a petit déjeuner at a croissant factory, doesn't
That's
it?
right. I'll take a look at this, Mark. This is a UMP membership card, and somebody's put it up for sale on Le Bon Coin, which is kind of like Craigslist. It's one of those kind of small ads websites. And that's the fear, of course, that people are just going to leave the party en masse because they're so disillusioned with the way the two principal sort of contenders for the leadership have
Well, if what you see at the
dealt with
top
it.
is what you see and it's so disorganised and there's so much infighting, it must give the rank and file very little hope about the coming years.
That's it. And, it's all about trying to have a united voice for opposition.
Shall we move on from French politics?
Yes.
Fascinating and entertaining though it is. Next up we have Saudi Arabian news, where women in Saudi Arabia are now monitored by an electronic system that tracks any cross-border movements. This has huge human rights implications, surely.
Does indeed, Mark. This,
Well, you'd think it would, wouldn't you,
Well, that's what their immigration authorities are actually implementing as a system. Saudi women, you can see it here, it's been in a lot of news reports today, electronic tracking, new constraint for Saudi women. Saudi women have guardians. It's either their husband or their brother or their father. So you're essentially not a free woman. You can't even drive, for example, in Saudi Arabia. And now the thing is, if you cross the border, a text message is sent by the immigration authorities to your guardian, usually the husband. And in a lot of cases now, when a husband and wife are driving over the border, the husband will get a text message to say your wife has left, but actually he kind of knows that because she's sitting next to him. It's really silly, And another story today in Saudi that caught, that this is, by the way, in an Algerian paper where they're reacting to that and they say, what's next? GPS chips in your veil? I mean, what's the next step after this? This is a story that also grabbed my eye. Saudi man marries student, teacher and principal from the same school. How improbable is that? You're allowed up to 4 wives in Saudi Arabia. He already had 1, and then he married the principal, a teacher and a student all in the same school. So there you go. Next, he'd maybe marry the janitor if he could marry another woman, but he's actually used up all his credits.
Talk about keeping it in-house. It's remarkable stuff. But this tagging thing, it's almost like sort of electronic tagging of prisoners that goes on certainly in the United Kingdom, and it has really sort of strange implications for human rights, I'm sure. It smells bad to me. Okay, let's look at the buzz now concerning the singer in the UK, Susan Boyle.
Yes.
On Twitter, PR on Twitter rather, for her new album, which went wrong due to a very poorly chosen Hashtag.
You have to be careful where you put the capital letters in hashtags.
Yeah, because this one will make you smile.
That's right. Here's Susan Boyle, right? And they were promoting her new album. Now, this has been a huge story on Twitter today. And what you do there is you put words together in one amalgamated word, right? And hashtag. And that's how everybody can then find that.
So her album is called Album Party, is it?
That's right. It's an album party that was being organised for the album, except actually it could also be read as something a little bit ruder, like a bum party or something like that. And people were you had all sorts of people inviting.
Sue's Anal Bum Party. Okay.
Now, what people are saying
you get the message. You get the message.
This party mightn't have got a lot of attention, only for this massive error, or was it an error? Some people are saying her PR people are either really naive or geniuses, because everyone's talking about it now. And maybe Susan Boyle's career wasn't doing as quite as well as it did in the beginning, and now everyone's talking about it. It reminds us of what happened over at McDonald's back at the start of the year. They had hashtag MacD stories. They were like, talk to us about your stories. And people were like, oh, we'll tell you about the time we found a fingernail in our burger. We'll tell you about that and everything else. So it turned back against them, and it was a fail. Massive fail.
James Creedon, if you didn't exist, they'd have to invent you. That's all I can say. Thank you very much, Jim Creedon, there with Media Watch.